There is good news about education in America, and especially in Kansas. Despite the claims by some of faltering educational achievement, the latest national reports show reading and math scores, high school graduation rates, and college completion are at all-time highs, with the greatest improvement among student groups that have historically had lower achievement rates. Considering all of these measures, Kansas ranks in the top 10 states nationally, higher than all of our neighbors, yet spends less than all the states that rank ahead of us. However, even with educational achievement at an all-time high, there's always room for improvement. As the state, national, and world economy changes, more students need higher skills to be successful after they leave high school, no matter where they live or work. Kansas public educators share the goal of having all students graduate ready for college and careers. This means entering adulthood with the academic skills for post-secondary education based on the student's career interests, from technical training and industry credentials to four-year college degrees and beyond, and the skills required for successful employment. To continue improving student learning, Kansas public schools are changing in important ways. First, we are implementing new academic standards that establish more challenging goals. Second, we will be adopting new tests to measure how well students are learning. Third, we will establish new ways to evaluate educators. And finally, we will evaluate and accredit schools and school districts using a more systemic process focused on continuous improvement. Although some of these decisions are made by the State Board of Education, which is elected by the people of Kansas, many other important decisions will be made by elected local school boards, working with teachers, administrators, support staff, parents, and community members. Let's look at each of these initiatives. First, standards. In 2010, the State Board voted to adopt a version of Common Core academic standards for reading and math, with modifications that are now called the Kansas College and Career Ready Standards. The Common Core standards were developed by governors and state school leaders in 2009, with support from private organizations to provide a common set of academic expectations for participating states. These standards help students and families who move from state to state, whether for employment, military service, or college, have a better transition. They also help Kansans see how our schools and students compare to the expectation of other states and nations, which is why they are supported by political leaders from both parties, as well as business leaders and higher education. Last spring, the State Board also adopted new history, government, and science standards. It's important to remember these standards are not curriculum. In other words, they do not require schools to teach in a certain way or use particular textbooks. Those decisions will continue to be made by local school boards. Instead, the standards offer guidance to boards and teachers on what students need to know and be able to do. One of the most important changes found in the new Kansas standards is an emphasis on students demonstrating skills and showing they can learn on their own, rather than simply memorizing facts for tests. Cost is always a concern with new standards. Most of the cost of implementation is for educator training, textbooks, and other support materials necessary for any set of standards. However, these were anticipated costs with the revision required by state law. During preliminary implementation over the past 2 years, most school leaders and educators have expressed strong support for the new standards. The next big step is adopting a new set of state tests to assess how well students are learning those skills expected with the Kansas College and Career Ready standards. Kansas is participating in one of two groups of states working to develop new tests, along with other testing organizations. The State Board has not yet made a decision on how to replace the current testing system, which is now over 10 years old. It is expected the new test will be more expensive than the current tests because the new test will provide more information for teachers to use in helping students improve and will be administered in a 21st century digital format. The new test will not collect or distribute any more information about students than is currently used for research and accountability purposes. Parents, patrons, and educators can anticipate a drop in state test scores when the new assessments are implemented in the next few years, not because student performance is falling, but because students will be measured against a higher standard using an unfamiliar test format. Performance will continue to be measured by the National Assessment of Education Progress, NAEP, and the ACT and SAT tests, where Kansas students score in the top 10 nationally. The third change is evaluation of educators. State Board of Education is developing new standards for teacher and administrator evaluation that include a significant focus on student performance. This system will include multiple measures aligned to what teachers teach and administrators oversee. Finally, the State Board is implementing a new system for school accountability based on improvement in student reading and math scores. The board is also working on a new system of district accreditation based both on student performance results and 4 other aspects of school quality, including student support and relationships with families and communities. Each of these changes will strengthen accountability and lead to positive results. All of these changes reflect the goal of our Kansas Constitution to provide intellectual, educational, vocational, and scientific improvement through public education. It will meet the need for better educated students in every Kansas community and secure the link between individual skills and economic security. If you share these goals, there are several actions you can take. First, these initiatives are part of a process just getting started. Many decisions are still to be made at the state board, school district, and school building level. You can educate yourself about these issues and provide input through your school board, professional educator and parent organizations, site councils, and school advisory committees, and as individual citizens. Second, schools cannot reach these goals alone. Students also need the support of parents, churches, community organizations, and other institutions. You can help enlist family, friends, neighbors, and others in your circle to support higher standards and help students succeed at the local level. Third, these initiatives cannot succeed without support from the state legislature. You can ask your state senators and representatives to support the implementation of higher standards and the resources to achieve them. Every student enrolled in our public schools deserves the best from all of us charged with educating them, and that really is everybody. Parents, community leaders, taxpayers, and especially educators. No child will ever get back a year of education that is unproductive. Together, let's make this year an exceptional one of teaching and learning for all of our students.